Ashe. It's GODZSUN 7, and this video is entitled The Labyrinth of Life, okay? And we all are walking on this journey that we call life, or that we call, this existence. And we can walk it in two ways. Hear me out. As a maze or as a labyrinth. And I'm gonna get into the science on exactly what that means. A labyrinth, let me show y'all this. So labyrinths have been used for thousands of years to achieve a contemplative state. Following the pathway of alternating turns of direction creates an unconscious cadence that promotes introspection and reflection as the walker moves toward and away from the goal of the center calm. Total distance of this walk is about half a mile, 0.6 miles. Now, a lot of times we think of a maze and a labyrinth as the same things, but a maze is something that you have to travel through that requires your conscious attention. You're consciously having to figure out what direction to take every single moment. And that's the way that a lot of us have been living and are living our lives, is a maze. The farther we get into our egoic state, and the more that we attribute our ego or our personality self or our materialistic possessions or anything that we can connect to this realm, the more that we have to walk this life as a maze, as opposed to a labyrinth. Now, a labyrinth does not require any conscious attention. When you walk a labyrinth, it's a path. It's a path that's already laid out for you. Whereas a maze is something where you're navigating each and every step, which can become very, very challenging and difficult. Now, mazes can even have blocks in them, which is blocks. If we're bringing that into this teaching and into this lesson, those blocks are blocks within ourselves, within our chakra systems, within our doubts, our fears, our so-called perceived failures from our lifetime and from this personality ego structure. Now, as we walk, we're gonna walk this together. This is a labyrinth. We're just gonna walk this path together. You see? When we walk in a labyrinth, this is all allegory, this is all to show us how to walk in life. So with a labyrinth, if we're attributing it and connecting it to our day-to-day lives, this is our thoughts, our intentions, our desires. Consciously, we're putting out energy that we want to see returned to us. And when we do this, we can begin to walk the path that's laid out by the universe, that's laid out by the ancestors, that's laid out by God, that's laid out by Allah, whatever it is that you choose to identify with, that's laid out by your higher self. And all we're doing is walking this path. Now, this path can be greatly peaceful. You can reflect on this path. You can be in the moment on this path because you're not having to overthink. You're not having to figure out every single step. And the world that we've been living in has been predicated on the Western world in particular, but it's a global thing at this point, has been predicated on trying to figure things out. From the cradle to the grave, so to speak, we've been conditioned. This is the way to do it. Go to school, get a job. In between there, you can figure everything else out, as opposed to the real way to create, the real way to attract, the real way to manifest. Set an intention, tap into the feeling of it, and then walk the path, because faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. So if we see this path here, and this path, all paths lead to the center. That's the center, which is enlightenment, which is your goals, which is your desires, your higher self's desires, which ultimately is enlightenment. which ultimately is liberation. As we walk that path, we get closer and closer. And sometimes, if you look here, we right here. Sometimes you can see the goal right there, but you can't cross over into it. All you got to do is keep walking the path. All you got to do is keep walking the path. And sometimes that desire, that manifestation, or that creation, or that connection may feel like it's right there, but yet it's so far away. And this is the interesting thing about this path, right there. But we still have a ways to go. And even if it seems like you're moving away from the goal, from that path, you have to maintain faith. You have to maintain the gnosis beyond the belief that you will eventually reach that end destination, which there is no end, because that's going to just give birth to a new path, to a new reality, to a new being. But we just continue to walk this path. And one of the ways that we can connect this to is almost like a roller coaster ride. You know, some people realize that they're on a roller coaster and some may not in life. Now, even on a real roller coaster, you can either enter that space with love or with fear. With love or with fear. If you're doing it with fear, you might be shaking on your knees. You might be so fucking scared to get on that roller coaster that you don't even get on it. You don't even get on the ride. You at Disneyland or you at Six Flags or whatever, theme park. But then there's those that love those rides. There's absolutely love riding roller coasters. And they get so comfortable. They have such a good time on the roller coaster. They putting their hands up, they screaming, they yelling, they enjoying that ride. And that is life. We have these tendencies to take ourselves so seriously, to get so wrapped up in our identities, and not ride the ride, not walk the path. You see how close we were to it. Now it's looking like, wow, I'm far as hell. That's what the ego would think. That's what the mind would be trained to think. But I'm gonna tell you a secret right here. There's a book, I think called 3 Feet from Gold. It's all a concept. And in that book, and there's a ton of other, things that could draw a parallel here. But in that book, it's like you digging, you're trying to get to gold. And it may take years and years and years to get to that gold. But when you're the closest to that gold, it feels like you're the farthest away. It feels like you're the absolute farthest away from that gold. Now, the story talks about a man who had dug for gold, dug, and he was literally 3 feet away from gold. He was so tired. He was so worn out, so exhausted. That's what life will do to you if you let it. If you walk in the maze as opposed to the labyrinth. You see, this whole labyrinth, this whole time we've been talking, we just been walking. We haven't had to sit there and figure this shit out like, oh man, we got to jump over this hurdle and it's a block there, a barrier. Let's go. Nah, we ain't going back. We're just walking and talking and versing. And so he was 3 feet away from gold. He didn't know that. Just like right now, we looking like, man, we ever gonna get to that middle? It looked like we're the farthest we could possibly be from it. When it looked like we was just right there. That's life. All you gotta do is keep walking. Because when it seemed like you the farthest away from that goal, boom, that's the breakthrough. Okay, now I'm getting a little closer. I'm still far, far, you know what I'm saying? We never far from anything. It's all in our minds. But I can see that I'm not as far as I was before. And that's another lesson, is small steps create big results. The butterfly effect. Making one small change in your life. Making one small change in the way that you perceive your reality, in the way you do things, in the way that you take care of yourself, in your health, in your mindset, in the music that you listen to. And I'm not preaching to you because everything that I'm saying is a message to myself. Just like it's a message to you. Because if we weren't connected, we wouldn't be connecting right now. We just still walking. Remember, a lot of motherfuckers done already gave up. They gave up a long time ago. They not walking the path anymore. You know, they gave up on their dreams. They gave up on their goals. They gave up on their purpose. There's also a lot of self-sabotaging, you know? And that self-sabotage is predicated and based on our feelings of unworthiness. Our feelings like, oh, I don't deserve to reach that goal. I don't deserve to get there, you know? And that's all programming. And that all can be shifted and changed very, very quickly with conscious awareness and resetting. Also, that's not to say that even in the labyrinth, there won't be a little things to avoid here and there, little puddles, you know, but you see it coming. It's not like a maze where you're walking, figuring things out, you know, basically walking blindly, and then boom, you hit a wall. This is the labyrinth of life. And when you're walking in a labyrinth, it's fun because you see what's ahead, you know? You may not know exactly how you're gonna get there precisely, but you're gonna jump over a couple little things and keep it moving, but you know that you're gonna get there. You know you're gonna get there. So we're still walking. This is life for you. And now it looks like we back again, far as hell. All right. But I know, like I said, when it feel like we as far as possible, we really as close as possible. And that's when you gain strength. That's when you come into that next phase. That's when your belief increases. You know what I'm saying? That's when you start trusting the process more. So we right there, you know, at the very edge of it. At the very edge of it. So it looks like we as far as we gonna possibly get. But check this out. You can see the finish line here. Boom, cut right in. Small turn. Okay, that's interesting. Boom. Huh. Huh. Oh, I just gotta walk. And just like that, you at the finish line. You reach that center point, that destination. This is the center. You did it. You walked the labyrinth, the path of life. Now it's clear. You see? And you can see everything that it took to get to that point. That's the labyrinth of life. Now you can trust. Now you can believe. Now you can have faith. Now you can know. All you got to do is walk it. It's not going to come without a battle, you know, without some sort of struggle. Everything that is worthwhile and is worth having isn't going to always come easy. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy because we all been through it. We all go through it. We all fight. The point is that fight doesn't have to be a fight. It can be a labyrinth. And it can become enjoyable, and it can become lovely, and it can become a thing of beauty. And it is a thing of beauty. And that's the message that I have for you. Don't make this life a maze anymore. You know, don't go into this new phase of your life confused. Don't go into this new phase of life trying to figure everything out. Allow it to figure itself out. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened unto thee. Breathe. GODZSUN 7. It's a labyrinth, not a maze.